Chapter 1. Beauty. God is very concerned about whom you marry. I'm not only referring to your marital happiness, but also to how your partner will influence you in the future. You see, life is very long and marriage is a very long road. There are many years ahead of the bride and groom after they say, I do. Many things are going to happen and much water is going to pass under the bridge. Will your marriage make you or break you? This is what God is concerned about. When God was instructing the people from Israel, He was very concerned about whom they would marry, because He did not want anyone to turn their hearts away from Him. God knew that the wife would influence the husband and the husband would influence the wife. I am a married man. I influence my wife and my wife influences me. It's as simple as that. Sometimes men think that as the head of the home, they will always lead the way. But you must realize that if you are married, your wife will influence you. Solomon was a great man. He had 700 wives and 300 official girlfriends. Imagine how many baby dedications, christenings, or outdoorings he probably had to attend. Solomon was a wise man. One day, Solomon prayed to God in a way that really touched God's heart. He didn't ask for money or a new car. He rather asked God to give him wisdom to be a good pastor. God was so touched that he decided to give Solomon more wisdom as well as all the riches he did not ask for. My brother, can you see that Solomon really loved God? Can you see that he was really called of God? And yet in his later years, Solomon began to backslide. He became a fetish worshipper. He became an idol seeker. He left the ministry and resigned from his church. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. He started well, but ended badly. How could this happen to Solomon? The answer is simple. Solomon married the wrong woman. First of all, some of his wives were not Christians. Secondly, although some of them were Christians, they were lukewarm. Some of his girlfriends did not love the ministry as much as he did. Remember, Solomon had the purest of motives. No one ever prayed like Solomon did. Some of the ladies just loved the glamour of being married to King Solomon. They didn't mind being the 21st or 75th wife. All they wanted was the position. Many women are position-minded. After many years, the effects of the wrong marriages and wrong relationships began to tell. Solomon was not as strong as he was before. He could not continue quarreling with his wives over church. Solomon was tired of arguing about where to go for fellowship. Solomon wanted peace in his old age, so he just flowed with his backslidden wives My dear friend, if this is what happened to Solomon, whose name is in the Bible, what do you think will happen to you? If you make the mistake of marrying for the wrong reason, you will live to regret it. This book is all about choosing a wife. When a young man goes out to find a wife, he often looks for certain qualities. The spiritual brothers will say, "Oh, I love her because she's so spiritual." The aristocratic brothers will say, "Oh, I love her because she's so educated." The gobbly gob tribe will say, "I love her because she speaks my language fluently." But there is one thing that all men look for, whether they admit it or not, and that is beauty. Every man wants to marry a beautiful girl. As I said before, God wants you to marry a beautiful person, but his primary concern for you is whether or not the person you marry will one day turn your heart away from him. Your choice of a marriage partner is not only important for life here on earth, but also concerns your final destination, heaven or hell. Marriage is something you must not take lightly or wantonly, but soberly and in the fear of the Lord, duly considering the causes for which marriage was ordained. Since one of the cardinal things most men and women look for is physical beauty, it is important for every Christian to understand the subject of beauty. I want to share with you 10 important attributes of beauty that every Christian should know about.